We're still in our series, Adobe Illustrator Made Easy, where we go through all the tools and functions of the Adobe Illustrator toolbox. Today we're going through the Rotate and Reflect tool. The shortcut for the Rotate tool is R. The shortcut for the Reflect tool is O on your keyboard. We'll start with the Rotate tool. If you double click the tool, you'll see you can get a constrained effect. You can transform the object or transform patterns. You can preview it. You can copy it, which what that means is once you choose your angle, you hit copy, it's going to keep when you had selected, and then it's going to duplicate that with the effect. So if I make a square and go right here in the middle of our screen, get it centered, and I'm going to fill it with a pattern right here. Real cool. I'm going to double click the Rotate tool, and if I have transform objects and transform pattern selected, it's going to rotate all of it as a unit. But if I deselect transform object, it's only going to rotate the pattern. And you can see how that changes in there. So the square stays the same, but the pattern changes. If I deselect transform pattern, it's only going to transform the shape on the outside and not the pattern. If I hit copy, then you'll see we have both copies of it now. We've got the original, which was just a square, and then the one that received the effect of the rotation. One way I like to use the Rotate tool is in creating custom bursts. So I make an elliptical, type L, click, I'm going to hold Option and just kind of drag it out, center it. I want to remove that fill, drag it in. All right, so if I double click my Rotate tool, and let's say I go 45 degrees. So you can see it's showing you what the effect is going to have. Now if I hit copy, it's going to keep the original and duplicate it. And if you hit Command D, after you've done that effect, it's going to keep duplicating that constrained to the center of that shape. And then you get a perfectly set up burst. So I'm going to group this. So I'm going to double click the Rotate tool again, and I'm going to go half of 45, which is going to be 22.5, and I'm going to hit copy again. And then I'm going to select all of this. You can do Command or Control A, or you can just click and drag across it. Double click it. I'm going to go half of that, which would be 11.25, and click copy. So now we have multiple copies of this shape. The center one I want to keep. The next burst, I want to bring it in a little bit. So I selected both of those bursts, just coming out here and grabbing one of the handles on the outside of that selection, holding Shift and alternate. It's going to bring it in constrained by the center. If I just hold Shift, it's going to be constrained to the left, but I want it to be coming out of the middle. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit. And I want to also grab this next set that is still grouped, and I want to bring that one in a little bit more, just to give this burst a little bit of shape, a little bit of dynamic. So that's one way that I use the Rotate tool quite often. The next tool we'll go over is the Reflect tool. And I use this tool a lot in making hearts. I could probably just make one group of hearts and have them saved on a file, but I just tend to not do that, and I'll just make them as I need them. So what I do is I make a circle, type an L for the elliptical tool, holding Shift and alternate. I'm just going to drag that out to kind of fill the space. And then I use the pen tool. I type a P for the pen tool. Coming over here to the left, you can see as I hit that anchor point on the elliptical, it brings out that little white box, which lets me know that I'm going to be starting my next point right on the same spot that that anchor point is, which is what I want. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to click and drag, probably about like that. It looks like it's about twice the length of the diameter of that circle. Let it go, and then you can see what it's going to do. It's showing you where that line is going to go. So I want to come a little bit past the right side of that circle, and I'm going to click. Type a V. I'm going to drag across both of those pieces. I'm going to type the O for the Reflect tool, and I want to find where I want the center of this heart to be, and I'm thinking I kind of like it right around here. I think that'll give us a good dynamic Valentine heart. So holding alternate, I'm going to click. It's set to vertical. You can also set it to horizontal, and you can also set it to angle. I want it vertical, and I want to copy it. So now I have two copies of my elliptical and my line. I'm going to type an A, and I'm going to click and drag across the bottom points, and I'm going to hit Command J, and that's going to join it. Now I'm going to do Command or Control A to select all, go to Pathfinder and click Unite. One more time, typing A, deselect by just clicking off of the arc, and hit Option, click and drag over that bottom piece and hit Delete. And there we've got our heart, perfectly centered. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you learned something, please subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you in the next one.